subscribe.
Hi everybody and welcome. My name's Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. Today is just a quick video on shoulder rests for the violin. Now I've been getting a lot of questions about should I use a shoulder rest, should I not use a shoulder rest, do I need to use one, do I not need to use one, and all that sort of thing. And I think, to be honest, it's stemming from the fact that I don't use a shoulder rest personally, and you never ever see me use a shoulder rest in any of my videos because I don't use them. But a lot of other say YouTube teachers or your own teacher or anybody else that you might have seen, the majority of people do use a shoulder rest, but of course I don't. So I'm getting a lot of people sort of saying to me, oh, does it restrict your arm movement? Does it restrict your fingers? Does it restrict you doing vibrato and things like that? And the answer is no, no, and no. It doesn't restrict me doing anything. I'm going to show you how, and I'm going to show you or tell you why I don't use a shoulder rest, and I'm going to show you how to use a shoulder rest and the benefits and fors and against and all that kind of thing anyway. So I don't use a shoulder rest, and it is completely personal preference whether you want to use a shoulder rest or not. There are reasons why I might give my students a shoulder rest or get them to use a shoulder rest, and some reasons why they don't and things. But I'm going to show you. So when you put the violin on your shoulder, I'm not going to I've got a video on this already, so I'm not going to teach you where to put the violin on the shoulder. I'm just showing you the kind of the whys and hows and things. So if you think of if you think of 12 o'clock being right in front of you, and then you've got 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and so on, the violin needs to sit on the shoulder round about sort of between the 9ish and 10ish mark. So not at 9 o'clock, so it would be too far out to the side. 10 might be a little bit too far sort of to the front, so between 9 and 10ish, something like that, depending on you as well. So what I tend to do is I haven't got a very big gap between my shoulder and my neck. Some people have more, some people have less. So what I tend to do is put the violin sort of in the middle there, so it's not directly on my shoulder, it's not underneath my chin, it's more or less in the middle portion of my neck. So what I do then is bring my shoulder up to grip the violin and bring my chin down by putting it in the chin rest and sort of clamp the two together. So clamp sounds like an awful word, and it sounds like I really am just sort of clamping everything in. If I was literally clamping everything in, then no, I wouldn't be able to move anything. But I'm just kind of using it as a metaphor or a descriptive word if you want. So I bring my shoulder up a little bit, I bring my chin down, I sort of hold the violin between my shoulder and my chin, and then I'm sort of hands free and I'm able to do whatever I want to do. It might look a bit awkward now because I'm straining my neck round just so that you can see the back part of my neck and my shoulder, and I can actually talk to you as well. So your head wouldn't be so far round. So it just sits sort of in the middle there, kind of on just right in that kind of that corner bit there where the bottom part of your neck meets your shoulder. So that just goes in there, and I just sort of bring my shoulder up a little bit, and then my chin goes into the chin rest. I grip the two together, and then I'm sort of hands free. So yes, it is a little bit awkward doing this, but remember that I would actually hold the violin up with this part of my hand anyway. I wouldn't actually be going around playing like that. So I am holding the violin with my arm up here as well anyway. So no, it doesn't affect anything. If you imagine my shoulder goes up a little bit, does that affect me moving my hand around? Not at all. I can still bring my shoulder up, and look, I can still use all my fingers, I can still move my arm about. So it doesn't affect, just by bringing your shoulder up, doesn't stop anything else from moving, because you can see that I'm quite clearly able to move nicely anyway. And bringing my neck down, again, has nothing to do with my fingers or my hand or anything. So therefore, I mean, I'm able to do vibrato nice and easily. I can move, you can see me moving all my fingers, you can see me doing vibrato. My thumb is sitting underneath the neck of the violin anyway, supporting, you know, my hand is supporting the top part or the neck part of the violin anyway. So for me personally, it doesn't affect anything. You guys have seen me play anyway, so you can draw your own conclusions on that one. So it's completely down to personal preference. So when I was younger, I did have a shoulder rest. I had one of these, not this one, it's a different one now, but it was pretty much similar to this anyway. But then I stopped using it. I just had a cloth underneath my violin, and now I just have completely nothing at all. That's just my personal preference. So I sometimes start students off with one of these, or to be honest with you, I tell a lie, I start them off with nothing, and then if I find that they're not really gripping the violin properly and the violin tends to fall down to the front, then I get them onto one of these and it tends to work much better. So this one, nearly dropped it then, this one is a Wolf Forte Primo. I don't know if you can see that. I've just got a new camera, so I'm just kind of getting to grips with all the focusing and all that kind of thing, but I'll put a link in the description bar underneath anyway where you can buy these and you can have a look at it anyway, and I'll write it down, but it's a Wolf Forte Primo anyway. And you can get other ones. The Wolf ones are really nice ones. They're anywhere between 20 and 30 pounds, something like that. So they're a little bit of an investment, but once you've bought it, you've bought it. You don't ever need to buy another one unless you completely destroy it for some unknown reason. This fits 3/4 size and full size. So if you have a 3/4, you know that this will go into full size and that's it. If you want a smaller one, for example, this fits 16th and 8th, for example. This is really small. So if you want smaller ones, then you'll have to go and get smaller ones. These won't fit, these won't fit mine, because you can see that, it's too smaller. So I really like these ones. You can get other ones of these that have sort of, this bit has a kind of, I don't know, it's fitted with some sort of screw, but the screw tends to come loose, and then these kind of come off. And I have students who have them. I don't like them. They have them, they'll put them on, then when they've finished playing, they'll take their violin down, the shoulder rest will just drop off. So if you can get one of these with the 2 rubber ends, I think that's going to be your best bet to get, and you get what you pay for. If you get something cheap, you'll get something cheap. If you look at the difference between this one, these claws aren't quite the same. I know it's going on a smaller violin, but this still doesn't stay on quite as nice as these nice rubber ones here. So what you do is, I don't know if you can see, but you can see there's a slight sort of curve. There's a slight sort of curve here. Just about there in the shoulder rest rather, and what that would do is you would need to make sure that you put that underneath where your chin rest is. So actually it needs to be this way. So I don't know if you can see the little curve there. It needs to be there. So that's so that it can just neatly fit into your shoulder. It doesn't matter too much if it's the other side, so don't get bogged down with getting it wrong and panicking about it. But if you can, the more archy bit in the shoulder rest needs to sit directly underneath the chin rest if possible. So what you do then is just hook these 2 little bits onto the side of the violin, and then what you'll need to do is just slightly pull it a little bit. It's fine because it's supposed to be resistant to help it stay, and it just slips onto the other side of the violin. So it should look like that, and then you should have the dip bit directly underneath the shoulder, the chin rest. So the kind of the highest point, or the bit where it arches, directly underneath the chin rest, so that it can sit nicely on your shoulder. So what that does, is that it just fills in the gap between your chin and your shoulder. So if I took it away, what happens is, and if I put the violin underneath my chin, can you see how much gap I've got between my shoulder, if I'm not bringing it up, my shoulder and the violin? So the violin is sitting underneath, my chin is sitting on the violin, and the violin is up to my chin. I've got about that much gap, which is what, I don't know, an inch, maybe a little bit more, something like that. And what the shoulder rest will do, so if I put the shoulder rest back on again, what the shoulder rest will do is, if I put the violin back under the chin, it just fills in that gap which means then I'm completely hands-free. So another good thing, or two good reasons for having this, is that it keeps the violin up. So the violin is flat like a table. So the violin's not up in the air, the violin's not down here. The violin is completely sort of flat. So you can see that to my head, and the violin's sort of at a right angle kind of thing. But it also keeps it in the right place. So you can't possibly have it down here because it just won't stay, because what it wants to do is sit quite nicely on the shoulder. So that means you can quite nicely have it hands-free, and you don't have to grip. You might have to push a little bit with your chin, but really not much, because it bridges that bit of gap there. If you don't want to buy one of these just yet, what you can do is this. Grab yourselves an elastic band and a piece of cloth like so. This is just sort of wrapped up, kind of about the same size as my hand, sort of, so to speak. It's up to you what thickness. You can fold it again once more, but that's better. So this is just an old kind of tea towel folded up to about the size of my hand. You can get one of those like leather car chamois things, or those sponges, you know, the ones, those quite nice ones that you have for the car to wipe the inside of the window with, to stop any smears and any lint and that kind of thing. You can use a sponge, you know, those shower sponges that you get, but they do tend to be quite thick, and that can be too much, and they don't have so much flexibility. And so if you get sort of a hard sponge, then I wouldn't recommend sponges so much anyway. They're not quite so nice. So what you need to do to fix that onto the violin, oh, by the way, this will not damage your violin. This is a nice expensive violin. This will not damage the violin because it's rubber, so you don't have to worry about it damaging the sides of your violin at all. That's completely fine. Don't lose you won't be able to get the rubber bits off, but I wouldn't put it on without the rubber bits, because then it won't grip anyway. So with the elastic band, what you need to do is, let me get the right angle here, attach the elastic band to the edge of the violin here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just bring it round and sort of hook it on that sort of button bit that you get at the end of the tailpiece, if you like, that kind of bit that sticks out there. So what I've done is just hook the elastic band on that, and that comes round and it hooks onto the sort of the side of the violin just here, and that's just above where the chin rest is, not the other side. You don't need it on the other side. So it should look like that. And then what you would do is this, lift up the elastic bands, put the little pad in underneath so it's sitting nice and securely, and then when you go to put the violin under your chin, it's going to be very, very, very similar. This is very similar feeling to the wolf chin rest that I just have over there that I've taken off. So again, that bridges the gap, so you don't have to kind of clamp between your chin and your shoulder too much. It does help to keep it up a little bit, and it does help to keep it in the same position. So if you didn't want to go and shell out on a shoulder rest completely straight away, you can buy one of these. And I mean, who hasn't got an elastic band and a piece of cloth somewhere around the house at least anyway? So this is a nice cheap alternative. You might just want to experiment with the thickness and what you want to use, but I think in my experience, cloths do generally tend to be a bit better because they keep their shape quite nicely. There's no resistance. I just like cloths. Just try cloths, and just try tea towels and some an old t-shirt, anything that you've got around the house until you feel comfortable and you've got the right shape for it and that kind of thing. And no damage to your violin because it's just an elastic band. So it might be worth just keeping an extra elastic band with you just in case that one snaps, because then you'll have nothing. But apart from that, yeah. So I really hope that's helped you guys, and I really hope that's answered a lot of questions for you. Whether you use a shoulder rest or not is completely 100% personal preference. I could name a few of the world-class violinists that do use shoulder rests and a few that don't. David Garrett, for example, he uses one of these. Nigel Kennedy, he uses one of these. Itzhak Perlman, genius, world-class. He doesn't have a shoulder rest. And Sophie Mutter, she doesn't use a shoulder rest. I think maybe she moves her chin rest a little bit further around, or has a slightly different chin rest, but she doesn't use a shoulder rest at all. And you know, it's Zach Palmond, taught David Carrot. You know, and they're all world class. I mean, if it's good enough for them, then it's good enough for us, isn't it? So it doesn't affect anything. Do use one, don't use one, have an experiment. It's just completely up to you as to what is comfortable for you. I couldn't tell you what's going to be comfortable for you, because it just depends on your neck, how your shoulders are, how you hold it, all that kind of thing. So just experiment, try it with a cloth, and then if you want to buy something more specific, you can buy one of those wolf shoulder rests. You'll get what you pay for. So if you buy something cheap, don't expect it to stay on all the time and have a nice grip to it. But those are the best ones. Like I say, the other ones, Wolf do another type of one, but it just keeps falling off. I don't know what it is. I haven't got one to show you because I don't like them anyway. So I'll link that one. But yeah, thanks. I'm rambling now. Thanks very much for watching. Leave a comment in the bar underneath if you want to. Please subscribe to my channel if you like my videos and want to see me do more. And I'll catch you guys next time.
Subscribe.